House Calls.
It's time now for House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty.
Keep it here for market insights, featured guests, and answers to your real estate questions.
Here are your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery.
Hey. We are back. Julie. Woo! It's 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Everyone is trying to thaw out from the, it's just been a chilly week.
Yes.
Chilly week.
He's trying to catch me off guard for his...
But I want you to know, it's hot in here at House Calls. Yeah! Woo!
We're ready.
It is smoking hot in here with some of the latest and greatest real estate tips. Whatever's going on in the market, we're trying to share it with you because that's what we do here at the Kingery team. We are in the market every day, in and out, working with buyers and sellers, helping them accomplish whatever their goals are, what their needs are. You know, Julie, last week we referenced kind of where the overall sales in the market, like what the average home sales price in the greater Roanoke Valley was. You know, we finished 2025. The average home selling price was $380 for those that weren't with us. And I think I also referenced that in 2022, we were at 320,000.
Right. Give or take a little.
Yep. And so if my math, I still got my shoes on, so you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's about $60,000 increase.
That's right.
In that. And it was interesting as we were talking about that, some of the conversations I encountered this week in the chill was that, you know, some people were kind of caught off by that increase.
Right.
And it kind of led into a conversation about, hey, my property might be worth more than what I really think it is, you know? And we're all kind of, you know, we all have our home and we're like, you know, we're comfortable in our home and this is our spot. And we don't really think about the change in the value unless maybe like a tax assessment comes up and,
of course,
you know, you get stuff like that on occasion that's going to get your attention. But if you told me that the average home increased in value $60,000, and I'm painting with a broad brush here, so don't
every single one may not
take
have
this
been,
literally for every home, but you know, when you look at those numbers and you say, wow, the average home price increased $60,000 in 4 years. I don't know. It got my attention
for sure. Well, because I think sometimes you think about equity in a home, you think you've got to be there for 10 years or you need to be there for much longer than just 4 years or 3 years. 22 to 25 is what, 4 years? 3, I mean, you know, 3 years to think about how much has gone into it. And as long as you've maintained it, you should have some equity, whether it's 60,000, we don't know. It could be you've done some updates to it and you might have 100,000 equity into it. But I know a lot of times you think about, you had to live there for, you know, like our parents, they lived in the same house maybe for forever, for as long as you've known. So yeah, it's interesting to see how quickly equity has been earned.
Well, and then you think about, you say, well, you got that equity built in, you know, the market's changed and your property has appreciated. But, you know, you think about, well, what does that mean? Well, the reality from my perspective is, well, that's it's nothing but a win-win. You know, you think about, you know, could you do some like a home equity and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, what you thought was going to put you in a bad way, you know, you're, as far as maybe I say a bad way, but going to put you maybe in a little bit of a, where you're feeling restricted, kind of tight, if you will. Maybe you can breathe a little bit more. Maybe there was something that you'd always wanted to do,
right?
You know, provide you that opportunity to do some things like that. Maybe it's, you said, well, maybe we've got this equity built up. We're going to just sell and move on to my dream, you know, whatever that dream may be. Maybe it's a single family, or I say a single family, but a single level. You know, that ringing a bell, Miss Julie?
Is.
All single level.
All one level with a nice yard.
Yeah.
Compared to what you might have already.
And a garage that's just huge. But with that being said, there's a lot of opportunity that comes about when things like that. And you guys, we referenced it last week. Real estate's a great investment.
Yes, absolutely.
And having been invested in real estate, you're able to take advantage of some of those things.
Right.
And we get the question all the time: should I buy now or should I wait? And I think this is a great example of, if you don't buy, you don't have the opportunity to take advantage of what we're talking about right here.
Right.
This appreciation, because you wait 3 years. Well, guess what? You're spending $60,000 more than you would have had to had you pulled the trigger 3 years ago,
and maybe even more than that. We don't have that crystal ball, but yeah, I mean, every minute you're waiting, the prices may continue to keep increasing.
And every situation's unique, guys. So I'm not standing here telling you that this is your specific situation. But if we look at those numbers and you look at those, I mean, that is all the residential home sales in the Roanoke Valley. And you could say, well, it moved $60,000. You may not have gained 60, but the likelihood of you gaining 40 is pretty real. Regardless of where you, as long as you're looking after things,
maintain. We've
don't
talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Maintenance.
Yep. So I guess that was a big takeaway, Julie, for me, in sort of how we talked about that last week, and then had a discussion here. So guys, I really encourage you, if you're interested in buying or selling real estate, Julie, myself, the Kingery team, we'd love to visit with you. You can find us at KingeryTeam.com. Of course, Mountain to Lake Realty is in Uptown Rocky Mount. If you've got a question that you'd like for us to address here on the show of House Calls, we'll be glad to do that for you as well. 276-629-9999. You'll just text us that question. And you guys, we may not be able to put it out on the show, but we will get to you. We will get back to you. We'll share with you our opinion. You can take that and go on about your business and try to make what you think is the best decision for you. So with that being said, we've got a great question of the week coming up, Miss Julie.
Okay.
So we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
House calls.
When it comes to buying or selling a home, you want someone who gets family, because your next chapter matters.
At the Kingery team, we're not just agents. We're a family helping families.
Whether it's your first home, forever home, or anything in between, we'll walk with you every step of the way.
Local, loyal, like family.
The Kingery team, selling real estate 1 yard at a time. Located uptown Rocky Mount at 195 South Main Street. Give us a call at 540-483-5566. All right, guys, here we go. House Calls is back. Woo! Yeah.
Let me just remind everybody, when you're listening to this show on Saturday mornings at 9, make sure you have a lid on your coffee.
Oh, a lid on your coffee, and maybe open the door, because it's hot. Hot here with House Calls. Yeah. All right, guys, we've got the question of the week. And as we do every week, we have just some folks text us at 276-629-9999, and they've got questions that they want to know about the real estate market. And this week's question, Miss Julie, it's Jared from the 540.
Okay.
And this is Jared is a father. I'm not gonna read it verbatim. I'm gonna give you the Cliff Note version. All right. Basically, Jared's son was trying to purchase a property. Sounds like the property they were purchasing or attempting to purchase had multiple offers. Okay. Julie.
All right.
Now,
they're still out there.
Jared's son is a first-time home buyer. He was getting a loan, kind of the whole government loan, sort of typical first-time home buyer. And I think the person that ultimately purchasing the home was a cash buyer.
Okay.
And from what I'm understanding here from Jared, he seems to think that his term is corporate investor with cash. And he asks, how often does that happen? And, I think maybe I'm reading in here, I feel like they were very discouraged when when it didn't work out. And then to find out that this home was not even going to be someone else living in it, it's going to basically could become a rental for a corporate entity. Okay, that's what it appears here in the
That's
message.
what their takeaway is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't know that
Not
for sure.
Not necessarily true, but
That's their
what they think is happening.
That's what they think has happened. So, you got any thoughts there to help Jared out and his son?
Well, I think it's always discouraging, I think, when you're up against a multiple offer and you don't get it, especially when you're doing your best. You've made you've talked to the lender and this is the loan type you've been qualified for, and then you come up against cash. Cash is hard to beat. It's hard for a seller to choose a different offer when cash is competing against you. So I understand that, and we've seen that over and over and over over the last few years.
We've lived it.
So I just don't see a whole lot of corporate investors here, though. I mean, we do have some investors, but I think it's a little deceiving sometimes. Maybe the news or maybe articles that you've read sometimes make it seem like those corporate investors are everywhere, and I don't see that in my business.
I think that's fair to say when you think about what we're going to refer to as large investment firms. They've got hedge funds and different, you hear that conversation and they're coming in and just buying up all the property. I don't think we see that here in the greater Roanoke Valley.
Right.
I'm not going to say that it doesn't happen.
Right.
But I think it's Raleigh, Washington, D.C., Miami. I mean, you get into some of these big markets.
Larger cities.
The big markets, you may see some of that because, I mean, real estate's a good investment. We've talked about it.
Absolutely.
And so, for folks to pool their money together and go out here and buy properties and they get a solid return and the appreciation is good. I mean, it's a very stable long-term investment. And so, you can't argue with that logic and what they're doing. From my standpoint, I think it's important that we keep our mindset in that it does happen, but I don't think we see that here.
Right.
In the greater Roanoke Valley, Franklin County, Henry County. I just don't see that as a big deal. And I will say, Julie, we did this past week. Did do a podcast,
right?
In Adventures in Real Estate. You can find us there on YouTube. We did talk a little bit about that as far as the investor piece. And, I think ultimately the data I had at that time showed about 1% in the last quarter of 2025. We saw that.
And this is a national, this is not just our region. This is a national statistic.
Yeah,
so.
you took the words right out of my mouth. But yeah, that 1%. And I mean, even this was data that went back like the last 10 or 12 years. And I mean, I think the most that in their data set was just a little over 3%. And so again, I know I'm quoting stats and everybody's like, God, there he goes again. But the point I'm trying to get to you is, when you look at these folks that are, 100 plus properties, millions of dollars to invest, they are in the market. They are out there, but they're just such a small portion. I mean, in the greater Roanoke Valley, we talked about, 5,000, 5,500 homes sold in a year.
Right.
And when you break that down and you just look at it all, I mean, there's a lot of homes.
Right.
And there's a lot of markets.
Yes.
And, those guys are going to do their research. They've got the money to do it. They're going to do their research and put their money in those markets where they feel comfortable. Right. And where they feel like there's a greater opportunity. So, Jared, I don't know, specifically here. I would be really surprised if it was a hedge fund type investor. Now, could it have been, contractor Joe down here that buys 4 or 5 homes a year to either turn them into rentals or make it into a situation where he's going to rehab and resell it? To me, that's a much more likely scenario. Probably. Than what we're talking about here with these hedge fund, these super mega, folks out here buying up big properties, lots of properties around. So I think that's a probably a
right, more probable
Yep.
case. And it also could be somebody that a family member, they inherited something from someone and they had cash, or they've just been saving
been
for
really
that
diligent.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there are cash buyers who aren't necessarily investors. So, I mean, there are those out there too.
And it could have been that somebody that just had a really big home.
Right.
They
And
sold their
it.
home and they decided they were going to downsize and they had the cash to do it.
Right.
There's so many things that could play into here. But I hear you. I can sense your frustration.
Yes, absolutely. Frustration.
In this situation. And you just got to keep after it. And, I tell people this all the time and they hate me for it, but it's like, if it's meant to be,
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say that too.
If it's meant to be, it will happen. I mean, I just, it may not happen on your timeline.
Right.
But I do believe if it's meant to be, it will happen.
And there may be something better that's coming that you will get, and then you'll look back and it will all make sense.
And you'll be thankful. You'll think,
right.
Thank God
I didn't get that.
That didn't work out. You know, I mean, we can all talk about a girlfriend or a boyfriend
right.
you might have had at one point in time where that you're like,
it's easier.
God.
It's easier to look back from the future once you're out of that situation. So. Again, that could be a whole nother radio station for us, our show.
Oh boy! Well, we're gonna let this one kind of wrap up today's time on House Calls. Yeah, we really appreciate you all joining us. We'd love to visit with you interested in buying or selling property. KingeryTeam.com. If you got a question you want us to address, 276-629-9999. Reach out and let us know. Julie, as always, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you all out there. We'll look forward to seeing you next week at 9 o'clock on House Calls. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty with your hosts, Steve Furrow and Julie Kingery. If you have questions about anything discussed on today's show, text us at 276-629-9999. Join us again next Saturday at 9 for more tips, trends, and answers to your real estate questions on House Calls with the Kingery team of Mountain to Lake Realty and Southern Virginia's country station, B99.9.
House Calls.